Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition. Listen, I want to introduce our co host this evening, Jim Nardone. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening.
Former Chief of Police for the Trenton Police Department. And we also have Allan Lengel, also known as Eastside Al of Deadline Detroit, as well as a contributor for the Washington Post. Good evening, Allan. How
Good
are you?
evening. Good
His
evening.
rap album will be coming out soon.
Right. He's quoting Nicki Minaj the other day, right?
That's right. Wow, Nikki.
So I don't know if Adolph is going to join us this evening, but if you guys are watching Detroit in Black and White, you already know what we want you to do. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. And you can also make any comments that you like or in the comments section. You can catch Detroit in Black and White on all social media platforms. And I want to say good evening to those that are catching us on Facebook. Janet, overall, thank you for following the assignment. And Edward, thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So I forgot what I was going to say, but we're going to start off with you, Eastside Al.
A couple things. One, ML Elric had an interesting, and the Free Press had an interesting piece about Mary Sheffield and Mike Duggan talking about the whole little whatever you want to call it, controversy, scandal, whatever level it reaches. But basically, he was talking about that Mary having a romantic relationship with somebody and then approving millions of dollars in contracts. One, her chief of staff lied about saying that she had rejected all the contracts involving him, Brian McKinney from Gayanga. And so he was talking about, how that might impact her, entering, and also that Duggan hailed this guy, Brian McKinney, in 2020 in the State of the City speech, talking about how great he is and what a great example he is. Well, he's the one now that's been suspended from doing work with the city because all these sites where he filled in homes, empty raised homes, a lot of the dirt is contaminated, and some's rated. I think it was like 62% of them were rated as not even dangerous just to have any human exposure. So that's it. That's an interesting thing. I have somebody else, but I'll let you guys.
So, Jim, you want to weigh in on it?
I'm all ears, but I just think it's interesting that she's taken her, I guess, guidance from Mike Duggan, current mayor, the incoming mayor, the mayor-elect. They all seem to come from the same space. I'll say. I'll be nice and say they seem to come from the same space. So you're talking about a conversation. Is it recorded, Allan, or is it just how do you know about this conversation between the current mayor and the mayor-elect?
No, I'm not saying there's a conversation. I'm saying what Elric was saying is that Mayor Mike Duggan in 2020, in his State of the City speech, hailed this contractor, saying he's an example, a great example of the city, and he's doing,
I thought you suggested that they had a conversation about
But
situation.
what Elric suggested was that, if people are running against Duggan in the governor's race, they might show a video, do a commercial with Duggan praising this guy, and then suddenly, headlines of the guy suspended and he's endangering people in the city. So,
okay, I misunderstood. Maybe I heard it. Maybe I misunderstood. Go ahead, Vanessa.
What ticks me off about it is when I saw the article. First of all, it says controversy over demolition and contaminated dirt could take Mary Sheffield and Mike Duggan and harm Detroiters. First of all, the title should be about how it's harming Detroiters first. This is yet another example of politicians praising politics over policy. This is ridiculous. Now, the problem is the harm to Detroiters with this dirty dirt, possible lawsuits, right? We don't know what else is going to come of this. And the article is about how it could damage these people political careers, basically. Basically. That's ridiculous to me.
So they're not focusing on the danger. They're only talking about the political danger.
Well, they were saying both. I mean, it's both. I think you're saying that one should be a higher priority rather than politics over the endangerment.
Absolutely.
Of
So
people,
here again,
but it's not ignoring the endangerment. I mean, one, health wise. Two, people can sue. It's like Flint. It's like the Flint water crisis. I mean, people got sick because the emergency manager and whoever else in the city wanted to save a little money, knowing that, I mean, once the water was coming in dirty, there should have been an immediate, crisis declared, and the governor tried to kind of cover it up, and everyone was like, oh, everything's okay. We still have, I mean, who knows what the long-term implications are.
Governor got away unscathed. Nothing happened to him, right? He was able to serve out his term. Again, politics over people, politics over poverty. When I saw the headline, it really ticked me off because we have been on Detroit in Black and White. We talked about dirt, dirty dirt, the whole thing, whether or not there was an ethical or moral issue with Mayor Sheffield having a relationship with this guy. And I do think that it makes a difference because here's the deal. If you have a relationship with someone, I don't care who you are. I don't care. And I really don't care who you sleep with. But I do care if that is clouding your decision about policies or contracts that impacts the citizens of the city of Detroit. Right. Which leads me to another article that I had a problem with. Headlines. Retirees are going to get extra pay. How about they getting the money that they were supposed to have in the first doggone place? Why are you characterizing it as if they're getting some kind of reward? That's ridiculous.
They're making it a positive. A few $100s is all it is. And it doesn't make them
a few $100s that they were supposed to have anyway. You're not giving them anything. It's not a gift. And the way that they couch this and the headlines, it's just very irritating for me.
Well, I think, look, institutions, and I'm not, and there's not a direct comparison here, but we see institutions don't really care as much about the people they serve as the institution itself. We've seen it at the University of Michigan with Dr. Anderson. We've seen it at Michigan State University with the doctor, I can't remember his name now. We saw it at Penn State when there was a cover-up with one of the coaches who was, molesting younger, teenagers or whatever. And we see it with the Catholic Church, where really for decades we're hiding, shuffling priests from church to church to try to hide. And is there concern about the people they serve? No, it's about the institution. It's about University of Michigan, Michigan State. They lose funding. They lose donors, don't want to contribute when they see scandals like this, and they try to suppress these scandals. They don't care. The victims are secondary and third.
Well, that goes right back to your initial point. Mike Duggan had a girlfriend, gave her money, whatever it was, millions of dollars. What was a couple $1 million or something, grant money or
it was for a program, for a medical.
So and he was not punished. Now he's running for governor. So why should the mayor-elect think that she did anything wrong? It's the rules. It is the legacy that he's leaving for her, that he did it and it's okay. So why should she feel any differently? She went to council and asked about it. So I give her credit for that.
No, she didn't go to council.
She did not. This was done after it was.
I heard that she went before. She went and talked to before she voted. I thought
she went to the ethics board initially for the ethics board. She went, and then she went down with the guy, to
But she
Miami.
asked in advance if it was okay, right?
Do you believe that, Jew?
There's got to be some.
I believe that. Okay.
I
But
mean,
I
If you
agree.
gotta
Look,
ask, if you gotta ask before you do it, it's a problem. And if you didn't ask before you did it, it's a problem. Period. And the difference between her and Mike Duggan is she's a woman, he's a man. The difference between her and Mike Duggan is uh she is single. He is now married to that person. The difference between the two is we're talking about a potential danger to the lives of Detroiters. We're talking about contaminated dirt, whereas his was contracts. At the end of the day, who loses? Who loses?
the people of Detroit lose,
but
just like they lost the first
let me
time.
say this: that look, Duggan was obviously guilty of conflict of interest. Is it illegal? No, it's an ethical issue, and it should be illegal. There's conflict of interest there, but he did get a lot of shit. There was a lot of coverage. He caught a lot of hell for it, but in the end, was he criminally charged? No. Is Mary going to be criminally charged for conflict of interest? No, unless they find some quid pro quo there where she's giving contracts Duggan was helping out somebody. It was clearly a conflict of interest, but he was helping out in what I think a prenatal program that his girlfriend, now wife, was clearly qualified for. Nobody was pocketing money, but still she was getting money that it should have been disclosed.
What do you mean nobody was pocketing money? Wasn't her company pocketing money?
Well, I don't know.
Wasn't she pocketing money? She probably paid for the.
She was working for Wayne State University. I think it was a program through Wayne State University. I don't know that. I mean, she was probably getting, it helped fuel her salary or something. But
Allan, you talk about criminal charges. I wasn't even thinking about criminal charges. I was just thinking about the potential issue with, like you said, you use Flint as an example. We talked about this a few weeks ago. That is an issue. Now, we have a viewer, Mr. Evans. He's saying the law department didn't do something. I think he said the law department didn't even make sure it was a. He said it was that there was a bond. Basically, that even if, say for instance, we know that the dirt is contaminated. If the feds want to do something, they're not going to be doing anything because really, this has something to do with a millage that the Detroit has passed. It's a bond issue. So listen. I didn't like the headlines of the story because to me, it's really about the people. I don't care about you running for governor of the state of Michigan. And I really hope that you're successful as the mayor of the city of Detroit. But at this point, it's really about the voters. And this is why a lot of people don't. I talked to a young man today. He said, listen, I don't trust politicians at all. That is why I do not participate. This is an educated Black man who's doing things in the community and said without being embarrassed about it or anything. He says, this is why I don't, because people they ask us for their vote, but they don't deliver. And you know what my response was? You don't hold these people accountable. You don't hold them accountable. How can you run for governor and act like none of this stuff happened? You just said, Allan, in the city address, ML Eric said that he held this guy up as this super citizen. Now you want to distance yourself from him. You're right. It could potentially be harming to his political career, but at this point, I could care less.
Yeah, I mean, look, the dirt
that live in the areas where this dirt is could care less.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, there could be criminal charges if there's some proof that he knew the dirt was contaminated and he was. I mean, there could be. I know there's some laws to charge somebody with that if they're, endangering people by putting in contaminated dirt. They have to prove that. The other potential thing is if Mary look, the fact if Mary was going to the Four Seasons Hotel in Miami with this McKinney gentleman, that in itself is probably, it's a conflict of interest. But unless she's saying, you take me here, you take me there, and I'll approve the contract, there's nothing criminal, but there's an ethical thing. And the city council. I mean, look, Gabe Leland sat on the council. He was under indictment for a year and a half. He was allowed to sit on the council and vote on contracts. And when you ask people on council, they said, well, innocent until proven guilty. Well, I'm sorry. When you have, that doesn't mean you can put somebody on leave with pay. But when you're under suspicion like that and you're still voting on contracts like that, it's outrageous. And the city council has to have higher standards.
Well, we're going to go to a break and then we're going to come back, Detroit Black and White. When we come back, we're going to address some of our co-hosts and then we'll come back and we'll go back to Jim. Detroit and Black and White.
Homeownership opportunities are rising in the city of Detroit, and there's a house out there that's right for you and your family. You don't even have to worry about credit or getting a loan. You can win a house for as little as $1,000 and pay for the renovation cost as you go. It all starts at buildingdetroit.org and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Our auction and Own It Now programs offer a variety of houses and neighborhoods all over the city of Detroit. These homes are in desperate need of repair and new ownership. You can begin by going to our interactive map and detailed property listings to find the right fit for you. It won't be easy, and renovation costs are not cheap, but our compliance team is there every step of the way. We will help you track your progress and connect you with local discounts to save you more money. We have already sold more than 15,000 homes in the city of Detroit, and our inventory is shrinking fast, so you don't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. Start your home buying journey today by visiting buildingdetroit.org. Homeowners.
By the way, I think last time did we talk about Marjorie Taylor? You were mentioning about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting a pension and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Basically, I think the congressional salary is about $175,000 a year. She gets what she's accrued. Like if you work somewhere for 10 years, you get a certain level of. She's not getting like a big. She'll get like when she's 62. I think she can begin collecting a pension of $8,000 a year, 8,000 something. So collectively, I think it could be up to $250,000 if she lives long enough. But it's like anywhere we work, if you're there, some places have 5 years before you're vested in the pension or whatever. But it's not like she's going to get this major blowout of pension right away.
Well, I'm going to, and I saw it today. There was a big article today about this big play out that she's getting ready to get as she leaves Congress. I didn't use that as one of my stories for today because I was going to talk about the demolition, contaminated dirt could taint mayor-elects and Mike Duggan, reputation, political reputation. I was going to talk about that, and you brought it up. And then the other plan was to talk about the city of Detroit retirees getting this extra cash. When I say this is not extra cash, this is money that they're supposed to get. So at any rate, what I will do is when we come back on Friday, I will have my receipts and I will be able to address it. So we'll go to some of the co-hosts and then we'll come to you, Jim. The homie 1721 says Garland Gilchrist for governor. Ira Ty, good evening, Ira. How are you?
Hey, Ira.
And why isn't my thing moving? Okay.
Edward. Good evening, Edward.
Yep, because it won't move. Go ahead.
He signed a homie. Do you want me to pick up for you there?
Pick up, yeah, because I can't.
Ira said, good evening. Yes. Good evening, Kenneth Reed. To you. Happy holidays to you. Janet, overall, that dirt was dumped in my neighborhood. Shameful. Absolutely shameful, Janet. Thank you for your comment. Angela Beatty. Is it Beatty or Beatty?
It's Beatty. That's my cousin.
Beatty. I know. Hi, Angela. I got it right, Angela Beatty, the second time.
Right.
No one was punished. Willis Martin, 9196. Kenneth Reed, it's a sad day when you have National Guardsmen attacked on the streets of Washington, D.C. Well, we can talk a little bit about that later. I think that's a good point. Thank you. Thanks, Miss Vanessa, for your righteous point of view. Miss Sheila, 2129. Thank you, Miss Sheila, for weighing in. Karen Winston, good evening to you. We were just talking about you if you didn't hear us. To Mary, good evening. Good evening, Karen, Janet. Immigration is an issue locally. Sickle cell disease is an issue locally. Dahomey, 1721. The politicians serving council have shown to be negligent every term limit. Ain't that a B? Good evening. Crazy Dahomey, 1721. What extra cash is news to me? Also, happy holidays to those who celebrate. Edward Alt, 5085. Thank you, Edward. So I'm just, I'm not strong. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about Alyssa Slotkin and her merry band of, whatever they are. What they said, and there's a lot of talk about it. What they said was definitely not illegal, and no one's going to jail. Their reaction, in my mind, what they did is they poked the bear, and we know what they were doing, and they knew what they were doing. What Trump's behavior was terrible. It was unacceptable. But they started the fight. So I saw Alyssa Slotkin at the fire hall, wherever she was, last night, basically in tears. She looks like she hasn't eaten in 3 or 4 days. And the question is, why did you do this, right? And now today or yesterday, she's suggesting that people have contacted her, JAG officers, et cetera, et cetera. I think what she needs to do is come forward, bring those people forward to Congress. And we know it never happened, right? It's a lie. Politicians don't lie, but we know that she's talking about defending people that probably never came to her. She might have had a conversation with somebody, but now she's the victim, right? The perfect I'm the victim because I called something out. But she said, she talked about threats from within. We know who she's talking about. She knows who she's talking about. To my knowledge, I'm not aware of things that are illegal. So the Democrats created this mess, this little group. This wasn't her idea. We don't know whose idea it was, but they're not helping, right? The government, you can talk about Trump, and if Trump could run this country till his last day, he would do it, right? There's no question about it. He has some authoritative tendencies, but so do the Democrats, right? These are the same people, the same group here in Michigan that we're going to throw you in jail, for leaving the patio department at the Home Depot. So they also have the same authoritarian tendencies. We can talk about so many things.
What's Home Depot? Are you talking about COVID?
We're talking about COVID, right? 8,700 people were kicked out of the military for refusing the COVID shot by the last president. If that's not authoritarianism, I don't know what is. So my question is, why is it okay for any of them to behave this way? Why are they all authoritarian? I'm not going to use fascist because that's the Democrat term to get people riled up, but they all do the exact same thing.
You don't think that Trump's a fascist?
No, I don't. They want total control. And the Democrats want total control. They need to work together, and neither of them are, right? So let's talk about that, Allan.
All right. I'll say, let me give him my read on it. Look, the Democrats were trolling him by saying, look, they're stating you can't, you don't have to do something illegal. You're entitled to not, just follow orders if it's not. I think, there were people in his administration the first time who did push back and said, no, we're not going to do this. No, we're not going to do that. That's against the Constitution or whatever. He's figured out a way through, I don't know, the 2025 plan or whatever to remove those impediments so that he can do that kind of stuff. Is Alyssa Slotkin, look, you're saying, oh, now she's crying, she's the victim. Well, are you trying to say, well, that's what you get, death threats or whatever for, okay.
That's not it. She created this problem. She needs to solve it. My point is I'm giving her a solution. Bring forward the people that came to you behind closed doors in Congress. Bring those people forward. We know there's no people. We know that they were made. We know that this wasn't made up by Mark Kelly or Alyssa Slotkin or the 4 flunky Congress people. We know that wasn't them. This was the head of the Democratic Party. They're so desperate that they are, instead of fighting Donald Trump, which they should be, on policy. They're fighting him on emotions. And the emotions have not worked, and they're not going to work this time. Right? That's why Donald Trump's president.
Again, I'm going to say this. This is yet another example about politics, politicking, as opposed to really talking about policy. I agree with you, Jim. Listen, we need to do this out about policy for looking out for the people. But they're busy playing these back and forth games. And God forbid somebody say something contrary to what one party believes, whatever party you align yourself with. God forbid you say something that that goes against what they believe, or goes against what they stand for, or go against what they're fighting for. Then you're a pariah. It's ridiculous. I can criticize you and still be supportive, but you can't even do constructive criticism. It's ridiculous.
This isn't about Democrats or Republicans.
Look,
I get what you're saying, Jim. I agree.
I think we have to look at the totality of this administration, what they've done. And let's just go to James Comey and Letitia James on their indictments. The judge has ruled that, first of all, the previous U.S. attorney was an interim appointment, which is up to 120 days. You either get confirmed or you have to leave. Now, after that, either I think a judge can appoint interim or somebody in the office. But Trump appointed this Lindsay Halligan, whatever, to indict. Clearly, she went in there and indicted when it was just such a total bullshit indictment anyways. But they found that,
like the Trump indictment in New York, same thing.
Well,
what's the difference? You only look at it from one side.
What's the difference? The difference is look.
It's no different. Legally, it's exactly the same.
Legally, it was I wouldn't have indicted on that because there were bigger fish. There were bigger things that he's done. So.
But you only look at it from one side. You don't look at it. You don't look at it when the Democrats screw up. You only look at it when the Republicans
I was not in favor of that. But look, legally, there was enough, obviously, for a jury to convict. Here, there was not. It was nothing done legally. First of all, the evidence wasn't there in the Comey case and in the Letitia.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% that it was a political prosecution.
Let me just finish, and then you. But. The judge then said you can't do a second interim appointment. What happens is the Senate then, you want to appoint, you can nominate somebody, but the Senate has to approve that person. Until that approval comes, that confirmation, they can't serve as U.S. attorney. She went in by herself. She had no experience. She went into the jury. She didn't even do it properly. She amended the indictment and had two people sign it instead of the whole grand jury and stuff. She did everything like it's just, the problem is that the Justice Department has lost over 500 people since the beginning of the year. Either they were fired or they've quit. They're destroying some of these, and these institutions are imperfect. I'm not saying they're perfect, but now they're really imperfect.
Question, though. Are you saying, in pointing out all these things, are you saying that this is more wrong or much more egregious than the behavior with the previous administration and them going after him?
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying. It's more egregious.
100%.
Jim is saying, listen, it's just as egregious on one side as it is the other. Am I right, Jim?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. I agree with Allan 100% on these charges. Yeah. I agree that he's seeking out his political enemies, and I'll call that out. But I also call it out on the other side, right?
Yeah.
What happened in April of 1961, right? Eisenhower turned something over to Kennedy, and we helped the CIA, Alyssa Slotkin's group, tried to invade Cuba, right?
That was Alyssa Slotkin's fault that we invaded Cuba.
No, but she worked for that organization. I'm making a point here.
I'm teasing you.
No, that was a top secret operation. They didn't go to Congress to invade Cuba. They did it on the sly, right? And that was not really Kennedy's fault, who was a Democrat. It was Eisenhower's fault. They were not prepared to do it.
But also,
no different than the early 80s.
The CIA was a rogue organization back then. Kennedy was trying to reel them in. and they were doing shit on their own.
That was an
CIA.
authoritarian act.
And here we go again. As I started off saying, yet another example, and we could go for the rest of the show and give another
Iran-Contra.
Again, politics, not people, but yet you want us to support you. Get the heck out of here with that. I wish I could say the other word, but it's ridiculous.
You can say
It's
it.
totally ridiculous. It is really sad. So my question is, how can you, Allan, how can you, Jim, and how can Detroit in Black and White viewers and participants, how do you have any confidence in anybody that's running for office or anybody that's even sitting in office?
Well, I think, we still can't give up hope because somebody has to run. When I look at all the presidents, Obama was really probably my favorite president. Was he perfect? No. Was he a politician? Yes. But
Did he
feel
kill
like
American citizens overseas with a drone?
But I feel like when he did something, whether it ended up being the right thing or wrong thing, I felt his intentions were the American people. With Trump, I don't get that feeling. I feel there's so many people that we're enemies if we don't agree with him. I mean, he's taken over the Kennedy Center, and now he's trying to downgrade the status of nurses and social workers to make them not professionals. I feel like it's just an endless attack on people who aren't him. And, it was Charles de Gaulle of France, who said, patriotism is when your country is more important than you. Nationalism is when you hate everybody who isn't you. And we're in a nationalist country right now where Trump he hates.
But you think it's just Trump? You don't think it's the Democrats?
I more so. He never. I mean, he's doing the turkey pardon, and he's shooting out stuff and going, I was going to name them, Nancy and and Chuck, and then he talks about Pritzker, the Illinois governor. Here's this very unifying holiday, Thanksgiving. It's not religious. It's everybody celebrates, and he's taking shot. He's incapable of uniting people. And now, with the Ukraine thing, it's insane that Russia has basically said, here's our wish list. And Trump says, here, I want Ukraine to give up everything, including, not joining NATO, blah, blah, blah. But anyways.
So Jim, I'm asking you the question. And I ask you the same question. Allan, I think he answered the question. Mine is so
obfuscated.
And he just, he's just, that guy occupies a space in his head 24/7. Jim.
So here's what we have. When the governor decided that you weren't going to be able to walk into the Home Depot in Michigan, I've said this at the beginning of the show, that was an authoritarian move. There is when Mark Kelly.
Was it about the people, or was it politicking?
It's not politics. It's they think they're smarter than you, and that's where Trump came in. That's where the governor came in. That's where Mark Kelly, Everytown USA, and I don't want to get into specifics. Tragically, his wife was tragically shot by a lunatic. Right? I understand why he feels the way he does, but their answer is, we know more than you do. You should let us control you. And if you think that's only Trump, Allan, you ain't paying attention.
Jim, when you keep bringing up COVID was based on a limited science, what they were knowing, and they were trying to make the best.
I agree. We should have given. I agree.
Right or wrong? We don't. In hindsight, were some of those things wrong? Yes, but
the last point, it was something completely different. I was talking about a different issue.
But I'm saying
I'm talking about Mark Kelly and his wife's organization. That I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about their attitudes. I'm talking about who they are. You don't think the Democrats? Okay, so it's okay to shoot rubber bullets at the citizens of Minneapolis because they were out on their front freaking porch? I mean, it's authoritarianism, and you think it's only Trump. It's all of them. That's my only point.
So let me ask you this. I want to start a pot. Do you think that it's authoritarianism when we talk about the mayor of the city of Detroit, the one that's running for governor?
Absolutely.
And can you say the same thing about the mayor-elect? I would say,
absolutely.
Listen, I agree with you because they think that they know more than what we know. And guess what? That's why we want you to support us and put us in office. And we're going to do exactly what we want to do because we know what's best for you. And that dirty dirt is what's best for you. And guess
Absolutely.
what? You retirees, you're going to get that extra money because we think that's what's good for you. We know what's good for you. And I call BS BS. Go ahead,
And you
Alvin.
should be happy.
I'm going to say, look, when Jim, when you go back and say, well, what about the Democrats? I'm not saying the Democrats don't do some of the stuff. What I'm saying here is that Trump, the extremism in this administration, taking over, going after the universities, taking over just as a symbolic thing, the Kennedy Center, going after woke, firing people in the military simply because they're Black or women, saying those were DEI hires. I mean,
Or they didn't take the shot.
we're taking at a level. I'm not saying the Democrats don't do some stuff. I'm just saying this is an extreme
No one's
administration.
disagreeing with you, Alan. No one's saying he's not a loose cannon. The people that I know, that a lot of people, a few people that I know that didn't vote for him is because Donald Trump, is because they feared that he had his hand on the nuclear suitcase and they could not vote for him for that. I completely understand that. That's a great reason not to vote for Donald Trump, but he still won the election.
So I'm going to go to some of our viewers, and then we're going to get back to this hot.
But Jim, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
People, because just because the people go along with something doesn't mean it's okay. We had slavery. We had, founding of this country. We killed, speaking of Thanksgiving, we killed a lot of Indians and stole their land. I mean, we have a history here. It doesn't make because everyone goes along with it, it makes it right.
No one's disagreeing with you, Alan. That wasn't the point.
So, but
All right.
Alvin
No one's
is like
disagreeing with you. They do a lot of
Alvin
things.
is like a lawyer. He has to have the last word. We're going to go to the homie. Immigration is an issue locally. Sickle cell disease is an issue locally. The politicians serving council have shown to be negligent every term limit. Karen Winston says, ain't that a B? She said, right, Allen, WSU. Willis Martin says, $1 billion here and $1 billion there. And pretty soon we're talking about real money. Contaminated dirt sounds like mafia action. You ain't that the truth. Maria Kimmett says, her company is Make Your Date. Dr. Sonia Hassan has never reported to the citizens the mortality rate of the babies, not the maternal mortality numbers. Duggan has had scandal after scandal, and Dana Nessel has refused to indict him. The homie says crazy. Karen says, what extra cash? It's news to me. Edward A says, also happy holidays to those who celebrate. Tamaria says, Dana Nessel say on the Make Your Date case she sat on the case for 2 years. She dropped the case, then Duggan immediately buried her after lying about the relationship all along. She says, remember Duggan deleted city emails to cover up their affair. Willis Martin says, politicians love chaos. We have, thanks, Ms. Sheila says, thanks, Mr. Allen, for sharing the truth. County government has shown patterns of corruption, and probate courts routinely handle cases in ways that appear to violate basic humanitarian rights. That's interesting. He must have heard me talking earlier today to somebody. True Sensation says, comparing apples to oranges. Yes, those in power often have authoritarian tendencies. However, Trump is textbook schizoaffective disorder with strong narcissistic tendencies. Wow. Kenneth Powell says, bunch of politics. MTG voting on pension contributions while simultaneously receiving severance-related income demonstrate the need for systemic reform. You should be allowed to vote on what you think you should get. Kenneth Reed says she took a walk on the wild side and got body slammed in court. Par Org says, Vanessa, Allen has that look in his eyes that he wants to cook Nardone for his democratic statements. And where is Adolph? Have him come on and do a cameo.
And Parr's right. We're trying to hold down the fort. Adolph's getting better, and we're optimistic, and we need him. We absolutely need him. I need some help.
Right. No, you're doing
I
very
need
well.
some help.
Your own. Tamara says, you killed millions of indigenous people of this hemisphere to build America. Sheila says, thanks, Jim. Fair down the middle. She says that you straight down the middle. You fair down the middle. We want to say thank you guys so much for contributing to Detroit in Black and White, contributing to the conversation. We're going to get back to this lively conversation. Do we need to take a break? Do we need to take a break? We're going to take a break and then we'll come back. Detroit in Black and White.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit in Black and White, our midweek edition. You have Jim Nardone, Issa Al, and myself, Vanessa Moss. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Thanksgiving Eve. This is the evening where you have the most partying done. It's going to be a whole lot of drunk drivers tonight. I'm not doing those kind of cases anymore, unfortunately. But people be making a lot of money.
Yes, I wanted to make one more point about COVID, if I could, before we move on. And I'll be quiet. Look, I understand, and I gave wide berth to the governor of this state and every other state during COVID. We were in unprecedented times, but here's the other option, right? Here's the other situation. This is the same governor that left us locked up in our houses while she got on a private jet and flew to Florida and had her vacation. And this is the same governor whose husband up in Harbor Springs pushed his way to the front of the line to get his boat out.
He tried. I don't think he ended up doing it.
My point my point was never about COVID. My point was about authoritarianism. Yep. And for somebody to say, you stay locked up in your house in March in Trenton, Michigan, you can't walk down the street or whatever the case is, but I'm getting on a plane and jetting out of here to lay on the beach of Florida in what is considered a free state. That's the problem. That's the authoritarian part.
Well, it's not authoritarian. It's hypocritical. We expose that in Deadline Detroit.
It's both. It's
good enough for you, but not for me. I have separate
we expose
rules.
That in Deadline Detroit. When Charlie Little Duff was a columnist for us, he did a lot of really good stuff on Whitmer. And the problem was that she kind of lied about everything.
She lied.
Well, no. First she didn't want to talk about it. Then she said, "Oh, I paid for the fare. You know, it's probably a $30,000 trip on the jet. She paid $800. Then she ended up eventually paying $25 or $30 from her slush fund. But she failed to mention that her 2 daughters flew back on the plane from Florida. She failed to mention that her whole security detail was on the plane.
So she omitted to give information.
I'm not trying to indict the governor. I'm just talking about the tendencies.
I'm just saying it's more hypocrisy. I think the thing is when COVID, we were seeing like refrigerated trucks outside of funeral homes because they didn't have enough space. We saw refrigerated trucks outside of hospitals. We were scared shitless. We were like, figure this out. Tell us what to do. And some of it ended up not being right.
But wait a minute, Allan. We also saw women in power, like Nancy Pelosi, going to get her hair done. But we couldn't leave out the house. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of women, in particularly black women who love to get their hair done, I'm one of them, I go every week, we pissed off. She going to get her hair done. We can't go and get our hair done. I'm just saying, to Jim's point, we know more than what you know, and we're going to do what we want to do, and you're going to do what we tell you to do, period, because we know better. That is what he's saying.
Well, it was based on some policy, but they didn't adhere to the look. There was a rule in Michigan, you couldn't be, at some point, you couldn't have more than 6 people at a table at a restaurant. And she's posing for pictures up in East Lansing at a bar with maybe like 8 or 10 people. I mean, tone deaf.
That's the point. You just call it hypocritical, but Trump's a fascist, but she's just a hypocrite.
Well, Trump is a fascist. I mean, you're taking one thing. He is a fascist. He is
because you're a Democrat and you swear by and you're straight down the line brainwashed.
The Republicans are all for state rights, but Trump is sending National Guard in to control instead of using law enforcement, instead of federal law enforcement doing task forces together in coordination with local. He's just sending in the National Guard, the Army.
I don't remember defending Donald Trump on this show tonight.
Listen,
I'm talking about the other people.
You're always saying, what about? What about?
If Allan likes you, he's going to say, yeah, it might have been a little non-truth, but we're going to find a reason why we're going to make it right. Whereas if he don't like you, like he doesn't like the guy that occupies that space in his head 24/7, he's going to listen. He's not going to find anything right about him.
I can find a few things. I don't quibble with every one of his policies. He just goes overboard. The immigration thing, it's like, we all want safe borders. It's great. But they're arresting people who are U.S. citizens. They're arresting people at courts who are going to proceedings as the law is allowing, and they're arresting them at courts and taking them away.
How many is that? A majority or the minority, though?
They're doing enough that there's a lot.
That's not the question.
There's a lot.
That's a small minority, Allan, and you know that.
No. So Vanessa, so tell me, it's okay if we wrongly convict 3, 4, 10 people in Michigan, because they're only the minority. The majority of people are, maybe we've got 20 people who are behind bars who didn't even commit crimes, but we convicted them because of aggressive or misconduct by prosecutors or whatever. So we say that's a minority. It's people's lives. There's a lot of people. I mean, we're talking about too many people that their rights are being violated. So
we're gonna go to some of these comments. Virgil says no freeloader. The homie says, I don't know, I can't read that one. Tamiria says, and Duggan sent back 6,200 vaccines. Biden and Good Morning American host Michael Strahan and George Stephanopoulos. I don't know what she was saying there. Janet, she said she was pissed too when talking about Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done, and so did the governor of this great state. She was getting her hair done, her makeup done, and the sisters was talking about, you see her on television, she got her face done, she got her hair done, we can't even go to the beauty shop. You right, we can't even go to the beauty shop. But anyway,
and how about the governor of California having a big party at the French Laundry out there?
Look, those people are wrong to do that, but ProPublica did a story.
People are talking about, you see what Allan doing? Y'all see what he doing?
No. Can I?
East Side Allan's doing. You see what East Side Allan's doing, y'all.
I want to get back to one point when you say it's minimum. ProPublica did a story a month ago saying we found more than 170 U.S. citizens who have been held by immigration agents. They've been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. These are legitimate citizens. They're grabbing grabbing Hispanic people off the streets because they're Hispanic.
Are they legitimate new media agents?
You believe everything that they publish, right? You believe everything the media publish.
ProPublica has some of the cream of the crop reporters from the New York Times, the Washington Post.
I like to see Allan get riled up. I love it. Stephanie said, I love it.
You know what? Whatever. Allan, let's hear the support for the wrongful. Yeah, look, Black Detroit. I mean, it's a lot. You know, there are people in prison who have been wrongfully where there's and you know this as a lawyer, where prosecutors withhold information and stuff like that. When they convicted in 2001, they had a group of sleeper cell terrorists here who ended up, you know, it was bullshit. The case was bullshit. They got convicted, but then
You're talking about federal court.
Yeah. But I'm saying everyone, look, there's people in the state courts who have been wrongfully convicted. You know, circumstances.
No, I just think you should just specify when you're talking about terrorism kind of charges and what's going on in Dearborn right now.
The thing was they were wrongfully convicted, three of them.
Oh, okay, so Stephanie Jackson makes an interesting statement. She says that Biden should not have left the borders open. Well, before Biden got in office, who was in office before then? Okay, and the borders was open then. And who was?
Oh no, Obama didn't leave the borders. Obama sent more people out of this country than Trump.
Understand my point, okay? And who was in office before that? The borders.
Trump was before Biden.
Exactly.
And after Biden.
Office before that. Okay, so so we can't just blame it on him. The homie said the White House secretary family got arrested by ICE today. Okay.
Right. Her nephew's mother or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. Kenneth Reed says he stayed out of the way during the pandemic. I would drive around occasionally for 2 or 3 hours because the gas cost 85 cents and the traffic was light most of the time. More L. Peter says property taxes, something about property taxes. Stephanie asks, she says, Allan, let's hear that support for the wrongful convicted Black Detroiters. You already said something.
Thank you, Stephanie.
True Sensation says, this is bigger than Republican versus Dems. The issue is poor leadership. No one is perfect. However, our current climate is gut-wrenching and people are scared.
I think that's true, but I'm talking about people trying to grasp power, and it's not just Trump. It's Nancy Pelosi. It's Chuck Schumer. This wasn't this. They just paraded these 6 people out because they have some tie to the military or the CIA or whatever. They use these folks, and now we have people suffering. Now we have Alyssa Slotkin. She just did what she was told. This wasn't her idea. If anyone thinks it's her idea, they don't know how it works.
Let me ask you this: when you said this wasn't her idea, she just did what she was told. Did we have someone that's in office who called people like that sheep? And people were so offended that he would use that term when he's talking about people blindly following like a party.
Yeah, she just got elected to the U.S. Senate. It'll be 5 years before she's up for election.
Allan, is she a sheep?
I'm sorry, I had to address something.
I don't know. You would think,
Is she a sheep? Is Slotkin a sheep?
Is she a sheep? Are you trying to say that somebody put her up to that?
He's saying.
Well, they did, Allan. She didn't come up with that idea by herself.
Somebody talked about it. I don't know what. You can't. I mean, you don't know. I mean, you can surmise if you want, but you're not speaking. You're speculating right now.
Wow. So
okay, and I'm speculating that she's lying about all the JAG officers that came to her, and that's why she spoke to. I'm speculating about that. I don't believe that for a second. That's a defense attorney's position for somebody that's telling a story, right, Vanessa?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't lie. We just deal with the stories that's been told with us, and we tell it the way that we see it. And Allan is doing a really, 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 really good job, I think.
I mean, what I mean, part of that's trolling, but I think part of that's just trying to say, hey, Trump, you know what? Your powers are not unlimited. And
we go back to that, Allan.
So I think
they're not in the chain of command. They should have went and made a complaint to the Secretary of Defense or the whoever they needed. Why didn't they go? Why didn't the Democrats sit down behind closed door? Jim, I don't know what would have happened, but I know they didn't do it that way.
Wait a minute. You really think that Pete Hegseth is going to stand up against Donald Trump? Do you really think he's the biggest stooge in that administration?
No, but that would have been the way to do it, and they could have said on January 5th, on December 5th, we talked to the Secretary of Defense. We made a complaint. We made a complaint with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and nothing happened. So now we're going to make a public statement. Isn't that typically how stuff works?
Well, that's how normally in a normal administration, Republican or Democrat, that's the way it should work. But Trump has taken down all the guardrails. He's eliminated all of them. So, I mean, they're not naive. You can see what's going on. That's just my opinion.
Trump is to blame for a whole lot of things.
Yes.
According to Eastside Al. True Sensation
if you watch the news and you read the news, there's reason to say that.
Your news.
And I was just going to say,
ignore your news. That's honest news. Your news.
Jim, you took it off my mind. I didn't have to say anything. But True Sensation says, I agree, Jim. Man has never done well with power. So can we elect people who have some sense of morality, not a blazy damn fool? More L. Peter says nobody's talking about healthcare, no more gaslighting. Nancy Pelosi, this is by Kenneth Reed, is retiring after her term was up. She was the best at counting votes when she was Speaker of the House. She never brought a bill to the floor unless she had the votes for passage. Stephanie said reckless. I don't know what she's talking about. Tamira says Biden opened the border wide open and Biden dog whistle came. Come on down. Today, the border has almost 0 people trying to get in. Janet says, have a good Thanksgiving, everyone. Thankful for another great show. She had to go. And Stephanie Jackson says, Allan would shake Trump's hand just like Gretchen. And then she said the 6 Dems. So we just have a few more minutes, and this is Thanksgiving Eve. So do you guys, do you have anything that you want to say, Jim? And then and I'll say something. Go ahead, Jim.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's a part of this show. Everybody that's commenting, everybody that participates, everybody that watches and doesn't, everybody that looks at the show later. Thank you. Thank you to Vanessa and Allan and Adolph, of course. This is Adolph is the guy that brought me into this thing. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm just happy to be here. So,
Allan,
I'm going to say something about the Lions game tomorrow. Big game, but the big news of the Detroit Lions, for those who follow, is that Frank Ragnow, who had retired as a center, a major missing piece in the Lions' offensive line, is returning. He's not going to be playing tomorrow. In fact, he won't play, I think, till a couple weeks from now. But it's a joyful day for Lion fans because they've been hoping, and Dan Campbell kept saying, it's not going to happen. He's happily retired, but something's convinced him to return. So,
and I'm glad. And I forgot to say thank you to Teresa and our friend Eric, who's always been a participant. Thank you to you guys too, and everybody that participates in the show.
And one day we'll have Teresa,
Maybe she'll come up front. Yep. So what I want to say is we have embarked upon the holiday season, and for a lot of people, this is not a good time of the year for them. With the prices of food and gas and everything very high, a lot of people are not going to be able to enjoy a Thanksgiving dinner. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to echo what Jim said and what Allan said. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for the show. I'm thankful for those of you that participate and watch Detroit in Black and White, that subscribe and share, that participate in the comments. I'm thankful for each and every person on the show. That would be Lady T, Teresa, my girl. That would be Jim Nardone. That would be Eastside Al. And we get into it, but guess what? I'm thankful for you guys being in my life. I'm thankful for Adolph because Detroit Black and White, this was his idea many years ago when he started on 910 AM Superstation. And his first show, he asked me to come on his show. And it has evolved, it has grown, and we've stayed the course. So again, I want to say thank you. I love you all. I may not like some of the things that you say. I may not even like you for about 20 seconds, but I love you and I'm thankful for all of you. You guys have a wonderful rest of the Thanksgiving holiday, and we'll see you again Friday evening. Bye.
All right.